We're at our garage and test facility, so let's see what exciting ride we're going to roll out for this video. Looks like we have ourselves a brand new, updated, latest model Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. Says so right here. Oh, this is the all-new late 2018 model. All specs apply to the new 2019 models coming out in a few months. This is a nice looking vehicle. I'm sure the bright red paint and giant tires has a lot to do with that. Nice looking from the rear as well. Shipped it all the way from Michigan just for us to play with. Here's the price we're starting out with, a cool 41 grand. Here's the price we ended up with. That's right, not a misprint. A cool 55 grand for a Jeep Wrangler. Wowee. Here's a quick scan of some of the extra goodies and how much they cost. There are many improvements the Jeep people list for the new model. For instance, it's a bit wider than the older models for better stability. 2.5 inches, I was told. The doors are lighter and easier to remove. The front windshield is easier to fold down. The Chrysler rep tells me the roof can be removed by one person instead of the previous ones that took up to 4. I'm not going to take this off to find out. I don't like soft roofs. On the Rubicon, these BF Goodrich tires are the same tires used on the Ford Raptor, so at least we're getting some good rubber for our 55 grand. The 3.6 liter V6 is carried over in the new models. There's a second choice, a tiny 2 liter engine, turbocharged. The turbo puts out 270 horsepower compared to the V6 at 285 horses. On the other hand, it maxes out far better in torque. We're talking 295 pounds-feet of torque at 3,000 RPM versus the V6, 260 foot-pounds of torque at 4,800 RPM. So you can guess which engine pulls better at low speeds. The turbo wins in fuel economy as well, 22 to 24 mpg versus the V6 at 18 to 23 mpg. Not much difference on freeway driving, but a lot in city and off-roading, as we'll find out as we rack up miles on this. We have lots of miles to rack up. If you get on the internet, there's a lot of debate among Jeep fans as to which motor to get. Some don't like this 2 liter because it's made in Italy by Fiat. Others don't like the V6 because it's now assembled in Mexico instead of the United States. Personally, I don't have an issue with an engine being made in another country besides the USA. In fact, I took a drive down to the Mexican Jeep plant last week to watch them cranking out the engines on their assembly line, and well, let's just run a clip of that. See for yourself. We drove our Wrangler down to Guadalajara, Mexico to visit the Jeep factory. Here's the main entrance. And behind the complex, we have the assembly line cranking out all kinds of various parts for Jeeps. Let's take a close look at that. Alright, I'm just kidding. We're really not in Mexico. This is not the Jeep factory. It's just more of my sick, demented humor. Come on, someone out there give me a laugh. So let's get back to the more serious aspects of the video. On a more serious note, the old 5-speed automatic transmissions are replaced with an excellent 8-speed automatic, seen here. It's the only gearbox available with the 4-cylinder turbo. You get the 3.6 liter V6, it's an option, or you get the standard 6-speed manual transmission. If you buy one of these new Rubicons, a couple things you need to know. First of all, these fenders look cool, but if you drive in the desert like I do, you're going to get all kinds of little rocks and gravel down in here. Easy to go in, not easy to get out. Not unless you want to take the entire fender assembly off. Hey, you just have to live with it. Number 2, it's no secret that the glass on these new Jeeps is rather fragile, easily cracked, easily chipped. In fact, this has been replaced already, and I got chips all over it. Probably have to be replaced soon for a second time. There are alternatives to fix this on the internet. Look that up. We don't cover things like that in our videos. That's for other people's videos. It's something you might want to check out. If you look up the words Gorilla Glass, That might help you. I haven't had a chance to research it yet. So that's enough show and tell. We're going to take this out on the street and drive it and then do some off-roading. We'll start that right now. As we do in all my videos, one of the first things we do is take the headlights out, see how they perform in the dark, after we wash the lenses, of course, get that mud off. We'll do that right now. Now that it's dark, we'll take these headlights out, see how they perform. Should work out pretty good since I scrubbed all the mud off, got them nice and squeaky clean. Here we have the low beams on a wall 100 feet away, very bright, good height from the ground, but our vehicle's raised from the ground, so we expect that. Go to high beam. Looks plenty bright to me. Here we have the high beams on a building 300 feet away. Powerful light, good widespread, good height. Doesn't get much better than this. Go to low beam. Reaches out to full 300 feet. I would say these are excellent headlights, about as perfect as you're ever going to find on an SUV. Well, if you find yourself balking at the $55,000 price tag, just be assured at least you got some of the best headlights around. And a nice turbo engine too. Happy hour time, drunks are out. In the past, Jeep Rubicons had a very rough ride. Not true anymore. In fact, this is the softest Jeep I've ever driven, as we'll find out on these speed bumps. 25 miles per hour. It bounces around, but you don't feel it. 30 miles per hour. Very comfortable, very isolated. Here comes the big nasty one. Again, very impressive. Sounds a lot worse than it is, trust me. For the record, those speed bumps were taking at the appropriate tire pressures, as you can see here on the dash. Another problem with the older Jeeps, especially the ones with that antique inline 6-cylinder engine, you took corners, they easily tipped over. On the newer Jeeps, that's less of an issue, mainly because of the wider track, among other things. As we'll find out when you take this corner. You're not going to flip this over unless you really, really try. Far better stability, big improvement. Welcome to the 21st century. I like the V6 engine, but as far as torque and acceleration, this Turbo 4 wins every time. Really takes off. These brakes are nice, but the pedal has a spongy feel you'll have to get used to. One thing I did not care for is this new power steering system. No feel, no feedback, way too loose. I don't really care for it, but I did get used to it after a while. At highway speeds, there's just too much slop in the steering, especially in crosswinds, constantly correcting. But again, like I said, you'll get used to it after a while. It's a Jeep, not a sports car, right? Left, right, right, left. Keeps you awake. I can't find any information as to what fuel to use on this turbo engine. Standard unleaded 87 or premium 91. I've been using both. I don't see any difference. So on this video, I'll be running 87 octane. We're going to take a short highway trip, at least 75 miles per hour. See what type of fuel economy we can get. This is what the navigation screen looks like, in case you're curious. And no, this is not a quiet vehicle on the freeway. Lots of wind noise, but it's a Jeep. We're fighting lots of air with this box shape. Even with the new slanted windshield, that's just the way it is. We're coming to the end of our trip. Let's pull over and see what our fuel economy is. Here you go, 21.9 mpg, let's just say 22 mpg to round it off. That's about 1 mpg better than what we get off the V6 on this road. Pretty good. We're going to go out and do some four-wheeling, so I stopped by the ranch house to pick up some food and drinks. I really need to go down to IKEA and get some new furniture so I can entertain my guests properly by the fireplace. Been meaning to get that roof patch too. Maybe tomorrow. If you're looking for an off-road experience, it's pretty hard to beat a Jeep Rubicon. You've got some of the highest ground clearance in the industry, so you don't have to worry about banging on big rocks. Decent approach and departure angles. You have a heavy-duty Dana rear end with the locking differentials. Heavy-duty Dana front end with the locking differentials. Here we have the controls for the heavy-duty front and rear locking differentials. Electronic sway bar button. Your choice to have two-wheel drive high, four-wheel drive high, four-wheel drive low. We're going to take a shortcut through our secret tunnel. Usually on this road we have to drive slow because there's a lot of nasty washboarding and dips and bumps and rocks. On a normal SUV I'd have to slow down or I'd have parts falling off the vehicle, but on a Jeep Rubicon it's not an issue. The only other vehicle that's been able to do as good as the Ford Raptor, so we're in good company here. Very nice vehicle to drive if you're in a hurry on these back roads. I can state without any reservations, the low-end performance of this 2-liter turbo outperforms the 3.6-liter V6 completely. No debate. I'm not as impressed with the shifter, which is constantly pinching my fingers getting caught in here. They could have come up with a better design. Nor do I like the fact that every time you come to a stop, at a stoplight, stop sign, or stopping in the middle of the desert, the engine shuts off in a ridiculous attempt to save fuel, but you can disconnect that little feature by pressing this button. There you go. As far as transmission choice, I can't understand why anybody would want the 6-speed manual gearbox over this 8-speed automatic. It's slower, guzzles more gas, very awkward to use. In fact, I was given the keys to a Rubicon 6-speed manual before I got this one with the 8-speed automatic. The clutch was very awkward to use, as was the shifting. It was slow, very annoying. And frankly, I took the vehicle back, gave him the keys, said, give me something else. But that's my humble opinion. If you really have to have a 6-speed manual, go for it. You have a bunch of old-timer fanboys out there telling you that the older Jeeps with the inline 6-cylinders are better than the newer Jeeps, and they don't know what they're talking about. You can never drive this fast on back roads in the older Jeeps. You flip over or burn out that inline 6-cylinder engine, which came out of the AMC Wranglers, and what else? Oh yeah, the Gremlin Marble engines. These newer engines are better regardless of the V6 or the turbo you choose. And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. It was a pretty rough drive, but we managed to make it. Most of it in 2-wheel drive, by the way. There's my executive suite and mansion, my summer home. When you're in a Jeep, this is the most important stop you can make. There we go. All this mud and no snow. No, what a shame. I see they have some land for sale. I think I'll go buy a cabin. Well, I just bought a cabin. Not this one, the one next door. Just the right size and right price. And a guest lounge. Even included curbside parking in the deal. You can't beat that. Let's get muddy. Ugh. More mud. Uh-oh, I feel the wheels sinking. You guys are going to have to get out and push. 60 miles of rugged off-road driving, 15.3 miles per gallon. I was cheating a bit. About 90% of my driving was in two-wheel drive. With the great traction I'm getting off these tires, I didn't need four-wheel drive. So there are the figures. Take it for what you want. We've now reached our test target goal of 600 miles. And during that time, we averaged 19.0 mpg. Time to wrap up the video, I think. So after a week of driving, what's my take on the 2018 Jeep Rubicon? Newer model. Well, number one, the newer Jeeps are better than the older Jeeps. You're not going to change my mind any other way. That's just the way it is. I test these for a living. I know these things, trust me. The only real problem to decide, do you want the traditional 3.6 liter V6? Or do you want the 2-liter turbo engine under the hood? This little 2-liter is smoother, quieter, pulls better, and gives better fuel economy, and basically outperforms the V6 in every possible way. On the other hand, the 3.6-liter V6 is $1,000 cheaper. Fuel economy isn't that much worse, and it's a proven product. We don't know too much about this 2-liter yet. It's too new. Obviously, you need the 6-speed manual transmission. You'll have to get the 3.6-liter V6. I really don't know what to tell you about that choice. I never keep a vehicle more than a week, so I'm perfectly happy with this little 2-liter 4-cylinder. If you want to buy a vehicle and keep it for the long term, maybe you're better off with the 3-liter V6 because it's proven. You pay your money, you take your choice. There's a third choice coming, a diesel, but we don't know much about that yet. Might be at the dealer by the time this video is done. Get on their website and see what they say. Usually at the end of my videos, I take the vehicle to the car wash, get it all primed up to turn it back in. But you know what? I'm going to leave the mud on here because a clean Jeep is a sacrilegious Jeep. You got to have mud and dirt on it or it's not a real Jeep. That's the way I think anyway. In the meantime, if you want to see videos of other off-road vehicles we tested, we have some links coming up right now. Just click and watch. And subscribe. I need the gas money.